This is class 10, CBSE, History, Nationalism in India, Part 1. Nationalism in India. This is important chapter in class 10. There are three phases of nationalism. First one is moderates, that is between 1885 to 1905. Then second phase is extremism or extremist, otherwise assertive phase. This one is from 1905 to 1918. Then third phase, that is third stage, is Gandhian phase or Gandhian era. This is from 1919 to 1947. In this chapter we are going to learn about the third phase, that is Gandhian era from 1919 to 1947. Before that we are going to learn about that when Gandhiji returned back to India, then what are the three Satyagraha movements he led to that national movement, and also how he started that non-cooperation movement, civil disobedience movement, and it leads to quit India movement. Then as you have seen, modern nationalism in Europe came to be associated with the formation of nation states. So in previous chapter we learned about that the rise of nationalism in Europe, which is later is formed that nation states, that means individual country, how it is created, that one we learned in that lesson. It also meant a change in people's understanding of who they were and what defined their identity and sense of belonging. In that lesson, the peoples better understand who they were and what defined their identity. What's their identity? What is their nationality? Whether they are belongs to Italy or French or Britain or German, etc. In that, new symbols and icons, new songs, that is national songs, new symbols like Germania, Britannia, like that, symbols, icons, flags, national flags, and ideas forged new links and redefined the boundaries of communities. This one is boundaries of communities, means that group of people belongs to which country, that boundaries also redefined. In most countries, the making of this new national identity was a long process. In most of the countries, the identity of nation, that is, I belongs to this particular nation, that process is a long process. How did this consciousness emerge in India? This is the lesson here. How the same consciousness, that is national identity, emerge in India. In India, and as in many other colonies, the growth of modern nationalism is intimately connected to the anti-colonial movement. Actually, like other colonies, how they did the nationalism, they connected with that anti-colonial movement. The same way in India also connected with that anti-colonial movement. Because we are also colonized under the British, we oppose against the British rule, so that one is known as anti-colonial movement. People began discovering their unity in the process of their struggle with colonialism. So the people started to discover, because if they unite, we will want that. So they wanted to unite. So that's what they can lead the process of the struggle for against the colonialism. The sense of being oppressed under colonialism provided a shared bond that tied many different groups together. So that oppressed, that means that colonialism, those who are oppressed by the different types of groups, they also shared their bond among themselves. But each class and group felt the effects of colonialism differently. Actually, all the different groups of India, they opposed the colonialism in their own way, but in different way. Their experiences were varied. Their experience were various types, and their notions, that is their ideas of freedom, were not always the same. But the same thing is, they want to against the British, but in their own way. Different groups, they showed their oppose against the colonialism differently, because their notion of freedom is completely different. In city side, they thought one type of notion, that is they thought that one is Swaraj. In countryside, they thought different angle, and among the businessmen they thought different angle, and in the peasants and also workers, they have their own notions of freedom. The Congress under Mahatma Gandhi tried to force these groups together within one movement. So Mahatma Gandhi, when he joined the Congress, he wants to join the different groups together and make us a one freedom movement together, because different groups, they fought against the colonialism in their own way, because their own notions of freedom is different. But the unity did not emerge without conflict. That is, obviously, if we want to unite, conflict also is there. So without conflict, unity did not emerge. In an earlier textbook, you have read about that growth of nationalism in India up to the first decade of the 20th century. In this chapter, we will pick up the story from the 1920s, especially 1920s, and study the non-cooperation movement, civil disobedience movements. We will explore how the Congress sought, that is Indian National Congress, sought to develop the national movement. How different social groups, so different social groups participated in the movement. Here different social groups means downtrodden group, workers, peasants, countryside, then town areas and business persons. How they participated in the movement, and how nationalism captured the imagination of people. So the entire thing we are going to learn in this lesson. In next video, we are going to learn about that the First World War, especially the impact of the First World War and Khilafat and non-cooperation movement. Until then, thank you.